Convene the meeting of the Board of Assessors. Before we get started, any citizens' comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to official actions. I'll take a motion to approve any or all of these.
You get the consent calendar to begin with, and then we'll go down through them.
Oh, I'm sorry. Regular meeting minutes.
You had already signed them and they're in the book, so I don't know that you got them in there.
We need to.
But at this meeting, you approve them officially.
Take a motion to approve.
So moved. I'll second it.
All in favor?
You. Starting with the personal property of Gerald Acorn, he was behind. 76 years, and he paid 5 of them to the total of $793.46. But said he gave the tractor away. It's now in Noblesboro, and like this year's taken off, and that's the recommendation. We did get $800 for all the back years.
Sorry, the abatement, it reads 136.89.
That is correct. That would be this year's.
Now, oh, okay, so that's what we're approving tonight.
Yes.
Okay. I'd make that motion. I'll second it.
All in favor?
The next is the tractor did not own by the Woods Hoss Farm, which is out on Duck Puddle Pond. And I had billed them for 2 years for the tractor sitting in the yard, and they said it's not theirs. So I recommend.
It's not there now, or it's not
It
there?
was not there.
never
It
there?
was never their tractor. Would be 169 for this year and 156 for last year.
Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
The next one is down on Bremen Road, and I had that house is finished off, and he's got a ways to go. Said should be done next summer, maybe, but the upstairs, there's one room ready for sheetrock, down needs trim and paint, so recommend we take 38,000 off for unfinished upstairs, basically.
So the abatement would be 642.20.
It would.
Yep, I'd make that motion. Second.
Building permit still good?
That's a good question.
Just saying.
Good question.
2 years, right?
Take a motion to,
You got a motion.
pardon?
You have a
We-
motion
motion and
second. I
second.
just was. Put my
Um,
sarcastic comment on the books.
Can we withdraw the motion and whoever made it and modify it, or just have you modify it to make it contingent on having a valid building permit?
I'll withdraw the motion and we'll put the motion back on the table, subject to verification that there's a valid building permit.
Second,
Yep, I'll second it.
all in favor?
Okay, Katie Nichols divorced, and I redeeded the 25 acres to her ex-husband, but I left the 25 acres on her bill as well.
Good note.
Error.
Double dipping.
Motion to approve that. Second.
It's interesting. I caught it when I was going through my land reval, and she came in. I know what you need.
Good to know we're all human.
All in favor?
Okay, the next one is Kevin, and he is here. I believe,
Hi, Kevin.
and you're welcome to discuss anything you'd like with the board or chime in here.
I don't know.
I will,
I'm not sure. What to
You
say.
can sit up closer if you want.
I just.
well, I'll fill them in and then if you want to add, we'll go from
Okay,
there. How's that?
sounds good.
So he is at 2449 Winslow's Mills Road. 2448 is the right number. It's the old Warts and it's on a national register in 1980. It was built back in 1807.
Yeah.
So it's an old, looks like plaster on the outside. It is, yeah. So back in 96, he bought it and did some renovations. And at that time, we changed the grade due to renovations. And then when we did the reval and doubled everything, his went much higher than the neighborhood houses due to the fact that the grade went up and the depreciation went down. So I would recommend an adjustment of the 726.70. In a nutshell, that's basically it, but he can tell you all the things the house.
Yeah, my wife and I put a lot of time and money into it and we breathed some life back into it, but it being so old, if you have a new house in 30 years, you got to do work to it. And I'm struggling to keep up with it. And I'm not one to look over the fence, but when I started looking at what maybe some of my neighbors were paying, I felt like I was overpaid.
You feel Daryl's adjustment is fair?
What do you mean?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And I have to say, I really appreciate what you're doing. Taking an old house and turning it into a viable living space is that's just top notch. My wife loves doing that stuff and she'd come over and smack you on the place.
If she came over and spent a couple of nights in the winter at my house, I don't think she wouldn't like it.
Well, if you need heating assistance, call Chick. I'll take a motion.
I'll make the motion of 726.17 for Kevin Scheinreich to rectify the overcharge.
I got for Daryl real quick.
We got a second, go ahead.
Yep.
You said the grade increase, you changed the grade.
Actually, it wasn't the grade, it was the depreciation, looking at the two. We have
Okay.
it before and after. The grade is still C grade. But I had it at 80% down under physical. The 95% is due to it's an old stone foundation and water probably pours through.
Yeah, that's it, because I was looking at some of the.
So then if you look
neighbors,
at,
like, I agree with the neighbors.
yeah, if you look at the Karrases, their physical is 62
Okay, yeah,
and Brian's is 75. So recommended we go to 70 on Kevin's. That's how we,
okay.
but it wasn't a grade. You're right. It was the depreciation. Good catch.
So I have.
Okay. Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Darryl.
So Jonathan and Jennifer Davis bought an abutting property and it was, so they got billed as just excess land. And then I thought they want them left separate. Normally, if there's two deeds, you combine and it's a difference of a new house lot. And she said you were supposed to combine those, so I would like to fix that error.
So is the motion to combine them and to
Yes,
approve the abatement?
abatement of
253.50?
yes.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Jessica brought in and said that she had applied for the homestead and I could not find the form, but I would recommend that we they or got the property in 2022, so it's been several years, and recommend we give them the homestead exemption.
Was there, I seem to remember there was a residency requirement for,
If you come from out of state, you gotta be there 1 year.
Okay.
If you've owned in Maine, you can move from house to house to house. But yes, they keep trying to get rid of it, but it's still on the books that if you came from another state, you gotta own it from April to April. So it's as of April 1st.
Okay.
So if you buy it April 2nd, you gotta wait 2 years.
Make that move.
second,
discussion? All in favor?
And Scott is here this evening if he wants to come up. Did an in-depth study of Pine Street. Or you did.
Oh,
And we took a walk.
I
It
thought-
was very eye-opening and interesting.
I thought everybody did that, but it's not.
The fascinating one is there's a house being renovated
Right next to.
right next door. And on the roadside, it doesn't look like much. But if you walk around the back, it's pretty nice. So that was the one that they had me buffaloed on that.
Is that Murray's old house?
He is in Murray's old house, and then
Oh,
the
yeah.
next one next door is. They
That's a
left the
great-
road, yeah, they
that's a
left the
great story,
roadside
Darryl.
just the way it was. But the backside is all brand new. Anyways.
He's got a picture of it.
We need to get on the
We
river. more
saw
and see if there's-
We
Yeah, I
saw
gotta.
the picture, it's in the package.
Oh, okay.
It's great.
But again, he had remodeled the house and I had priced it as a finished upstairs and I had it as a cape when really it's a ranch, and what he's got upstairs is gonna be attic storage. There will be an office, a little office, but it's strapped for just for an attic. So that was the big change. And then he can.
Well, I wasn't sure what those numbers meant. They didn't really correspond with, anything. But, I talked with Daryl briefly, a few minutes ago and, that gets me about halfway to where I want to be.
So this one, you will know, there was a B grade. He bought it in 12 of 2020 for $350. Was under B grade, full finished attic is what I had. And on the back, dropped it down to a C+10, not a B grade. And unfinished floor and stairs. So that's where I came with the new figure. That brings him in at 375. He has done considerable renovation there. It was 350, but closer to others.
I think what shocked me was it was a 40% increase,
Yeah.
in 1 year.
That's-
Is that common?
If
My house it was.
if you had a full upstairs that wasn't finished and you finished it off, but you gotta wait. You don't have that.
So we're looking at 895.70.
It is.
I make that motion.
Yeah, everyone saw a big change in, what year was that? We did that, Daryl, 2002? 2022,
23.
I mean, 22.
Had
23.
20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I dodged a bullet there.
You took
Few
a lot
years ago,
away.
but
You
then-
took a pool away.
Well, I'd
Yeah,
heard
pool-
from other
pool was
folks.
there, there was a
in
tennis
town.
court there at one time when I was a kid.
Oh, you were one of the playmates back
With the
there.
Murrays back in the day.
Well, Sue, I don't know if you still know
Oh, yeah.
her, but she came down in her wheelchair.
I saw that picture.
Check it out.
Yeah.
About a month ago, and she was almost in tears. Is happy, that someone is taking care of the place and loving it like she did.
one of my first babysitting jobs in that house, babysitting with Brian and Colleen. But yeah. But
So
the increases in 22,
The big increase was 22, 23, and yours actually went down $600 because it was ripped out. There was nothing there. You were back to studs at that point, so we had to value it as basically undone. Then we went to 243 on the building in 24, and then 330.
That, keeping that close an eye on the place. Is it?
He's the best damn.
But yeah, every April or every year we go around with this building permit. And if it's, gutted, we have to price it as such till it gets, and then the next April, if the downstairs was done, and then I assumed the upstairs was done, but it wasn't there.
Okay. I'll read the directions on next steps and
Yep.
I'll be in touch.
We need a vote on that.
Oh, yeah, we haven't voted. All in favor?
Who was the second?
I think
John. Thank you.
Alrighty, land schedule. Yes.
My well is paying.
Yeah. Boy.
You actually have some going down. By reading it. Or did I read it wrong?
I don't think so.
The change is negative in some cases.
No, it's not negative. It's just that
Um,
they shouldn't have brackets
oh,
around them on
okay.
the back.
I read that the wrong way then.
Yeah, no, they're all up.
They're all
They're
up.
all-
So it's been 10 years. When we did the buildings, I was hoping that we were good to go. And the market would peak like it always has. Settle back out, and it hasn't. It's still, right now, it takes longer for a property to sell, but the prices are still up there. Be good.
Not that much. I mean, stuff's not sitting and sitting and sitting.
It's
mean,
moving, but it
it's
isn't moving
moving.
within hours.
It's not a bidding war within hours, but it's not sitting for 6 or 8 or
Yeah.
10 months either.
So
Back.
they do our state valuation 2 years behind. So the July 22 to June of 23 sales brought us in at 84%.
84.
And by adjusting the land, we can get back up to 96.5. And
So what was your methodology? How did you come up with these?
so we take a look at raw land, which hadn't sold much, but it has been. So you take a look at if you got the sales for just a raw lot, what's it selling for, what's the asking price? If you don't have that much, you can take the building out and see where the land should be. Look at what the state is valuing us on state valuation. They have a price for backland. We've been way low. We've been at 500 on backland, which is most of the rural property out there. They're up well over 1,000. So recommend we go in that area. But looking at sales, again, I mentioned the big stuff. We've never had a sale over 1 million, and we've had 8 this year. So eight sold for over 1 million in Waldeboro. So you look at the big, off to the side tells you how many people are in that category. So Schedule 10, if you're on the schedules, there are only 4 with deep water properties, but they would go up 225,000 in value just on a base lot.
No.
Then down below there's 21 that would go up 200,000, 350 to 550. Over on the other side is the improvements and whatnot, a well and a septic, driveway, foundation, we were adding 20,000. I think I told you before, you're spending about 70 to improve a lot to put a house on it.
So this is the pickup, sorry.
Pasture land is valued at $600, but raw land is worth 1,000? I would think that pasture is,
So those are those that are in the farm program, in the tree growth program. They get a reduced rate. So a regular acre would be 1,000, but because they put it under protection and will not build on it without paying a penalty, they get a $400 reduction. So these are all your farmland properties and your tree growth properties. The tree growth rates, the farmland gets that under wood, soft, mixed, and hard, and the state sets those. The state has not changed their recommended farm values for 30 years. It was 30 years ago. They just refuse to come out with numbers.
I have some property up in the county and I just got a notice from some NGO and I have 80 acres there and they're telling me that I should put it in tree growth to save money. And my taxes on there are only like $450 a year. Down here, I have a little bit more acreage and
You're gonna spend more than that to do the plan. You gotta hire a forester to do the plan every 10 years. And you're gonna. If you put it into tree growth.
Are we still on?
yes. So
Yeah,
you're
still-
asking
we're
for,
not an executive yet.
are you asking for a vote to approve these new
Yes.
rates?
So you don't wanna put the dock back in?
It's not the dog, I've got that in there, it's the float.
Anticipate next year's list for requested abatements to be higher.
Jesus.
It is amazing that this year, I mean, the rate went up, but we
Well,
haven't
sure.
heard a whole lot yet.
But it should offset though. Cause we have a lot of properties in Waldeboro that don't have buildings.
And they have not had any,
And
they went down when
land-
we did the building,
Yeah,
so they
so
sort of
they went
dropped
down.
Yeah.
And so we
for
should,
the past 10 years there, yeah. And the
Smiling.
prices are amazing, the field up there on 32, 150,000. The lot next to it, 99,000, was just,
$4,000 an acre in houses.
I've been looking, I can't come up with anything. For real, can't come up with any substantial piece of land that's affordable. Or remains on the market long enough to even go look at it.
gotta be quick.
Make a motion. Nobody's so inclined.
Well, I'll put it on the table, discussion. I move we approve the land schedule. Based on the type of property. And the schedule based on the land codes and the improvements as presented.
I don't know, I'm not sure. Can I second the motion?
Yes.
I will second the motion for discussion.
So in previous lives, we weren't assessing docks.
We assessed the dock itself as a structure. So we've got all of those. But it was interesting, there was an appraisal done by Landvest. It was a $40,000 appraisal on the big one down there.
I know it's when you talk about.
And in that indicated that if they have a pier, you can add a percentage to the value of the property for the fact that there's a pier there. over and above the cost of the pier.
And a
So that-
pier and a dock are the same thing?
Yeah,
Okay, we wouldn't put a pier on a lake, but we might put a dock on a lake. Anyway, neither here nor there.
You're talking like a permanent pier.
You're
Pier.
talking about a
Yeah,
permanent
yeah,
structure,
per-
something you
permanent,
don't take out.
Yeah.
and it would be similar to Ice Pond. They all share the pier. So they have a percentage. We've always taxed them for a share of the tennis court and pond and where they can swim and then the float and whatnot.
Yep.
So this would try to get closer to what the market's doing. We don't have a whole lot of them, but they are out there.
When it says water frontage deep, is that per foot?
Just means that there's water there during the entire time.
But I mean the rate.
Yes, per foot, and that hasn't, I left that the same, so that's, so you, if you're on a, down below, if you pull it back over it, it tells you, a 2 acre lot is a 200 foot of frontage, so if you have 200 feet of frontage, you're in the base lot. If you have 400 feet of frontage, then there's an extra 200 feet of frontage priced per foot
So it's over.
over the
Over the
base
base
lot.
lot.
For that. I mean, obviously, if they split it off, then you get another base lot. So it's very valuable, but as one lot. It was interesting on that Land Vest one, there's an 11 acres there and they only have a 50-foot strip to the road. And the appraisal said it couldn't be divided because it doesn't have road frontage, but that's not true. They'd just make it a road and divide off a lot, I think, so.
The blueberry land, that seems like an awful lot of money for a farmer. Selling them at, selling blueberries at $10 a pint. I can't imagine that, is that per acre or is?
It is per acre, and I was shocked to learn, and we kept it the same with gravel pits, but the ones, Monroe, the towns that have gravel hauling out of there steady, we don't have really that big a deal. They're at 20,000 an acre on gravel pits and blueberry land. And we've had those sales where their companies are buying this blueberry land at that type of price. So I'm still extremely low, but it does. And blueberry land comes and goes. I mean, some of it, they just have to pay to get it, the field to where they want to go in with it. And so,
Can't imagine anybody could make a profit out of an acre of blueberries if they have to pay $5,000 a year.
in value, times your rate.
Oh, times the rate.
So,
Hmm.
Between water frontage usable, water frontage title.
So the usable, you can get a dock out there, but you don't have deep water.
So you say dock again, it's a permanent structure.
Yeah.
Not a float, it's not like a dock, like a.
The whole,
It's the
pier
permanent-
float
yeah.
ramp, yeah, but it would mud out.
Something that's permanent.
Yeah.
That's the usable.
Well, our taxes will go up about $720 this year. Just for the dock.
it's time to remove it.
Costs more to remove
Got any
it.
dynamite?
Get him to come over and
Yeah.
say, it's not here anymore.
That's right.
Let's take a pontoon boat out there and register as a boat.
There you go. Okay, pull it up again.
You get the motion, we have a second.
Call the question. All in favor?
No choice.
Nobody really, nobody really wants to raise their hand. I don't think. Very reluctant, yeah.
We have to do it.
Well, just like we did with the,
Buildings.
you're gonna be
Well-
forced, but, and then what do you do?
But it is the valuation and assuming that the tax expenditure doesn't go up the tax rate. Yeah, it's.
Well, but we only control one part of that rate.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, understood.
We got an executive session. Can you please? see
Yes.
that?
Somebody has to make a motion and then I can put you into it.
I'll make a motion to enter into executive session for poverty abatements under section 4056F
And
and for a Philbrook application under the same 4056F.
Second.
All in favor?
an action will be taken on the Philbrook application and the abatement, I'm assuming.
So do you have to
We need to turn
Kill
that
it.
I
on.
am doing it right